Pretty handy, huh? Okay, guys, I'm starting the video. I actually did a whole bunch, and then I'm going to start the video because I realized I wasn't recording. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we spent the whole morning talking about modern app development frameworks. We talked a lot about MVCs and how service-oriented architecture worked. And now what I want you guys to do is Lab 7 and 8. Now, if you look on Lab 7, you'll see that it starts with how to download a tool called SOAP UI. So it wants you to go to this link, soapui.org, downloads latest release. When you download it, it's download a file soapui.sh. You chmod it, and then you really just / to run it. This is a /, right? That's how you run something in Linux that's in the current directory. So you get this thing fired up, and it's going to go through its little install process, and hopefully you guys can see my screen here. It's going to go through an install process. After that, you want to configure Burp, and for the most part, Burp should already be configured, but you just want to make sure that these things are working, right? So 127.0.0.1 port 80. Make sure that you enable server interception, so we'll intercept your server responses. And then we make sure that intercept response based on the following rules is checked, like this. Okay, then you open up SOAP UI, which will be on your desktop at that point. We create a new SOAP project, so you say, okay, here's my new SOAP project. And then we're going to mess with the currency converter website, right? So you have data.serviceplatform.org. They've got a public WSDL out there, right? We'll name the project Currency Converter. And you see how it says create sample requests for all operations? Now right here, you set the proxy settings for SOAP UI to point to 127.0.0.1 port 80 right here under manual settings. Now turn the proxy on in SOAP UI, and you'll see green is on, red is off. That's going to end up looking like this. So you've got that integration between the two products working. And now here you can say, let me expand that conversion rate, and let me click on request 1. And you see how it will actually open up all the XML for that right there. So on the right side, you'll see the XML of the SOAP request. It's got 2 parameters from currency and the to currency. So right here it says substitute the first question mark in the XML with USD and the second one with GBP, right? So United States dollars and Great British pounds is what you're converting them to. That's what you're doing right there. Okay. And you'll see that as soon as you did that, Burp intercepted the request. You'll see that the currencies are in the raw request. You can see them right here. And they're down in here. You'll see that those 2 requests that you just sent, got shot over there. Perfect, right? Now, you can right-click and you can send it to repeater, right? So we right-click on it, we send it to repeater. Now it says click go in the repeater and inspect the response, right? And now you can step through it and you can see that it's actually working. You see that 200 response from the server, right? And you see that XML data come back, so you know that it's working. So now if you want to fuzz it, we can fuzz it. So we'll shoot it over to Intruder. And then Intruder picks up the values that he wants to go ahead and mess with for us, right? So you can see that it's messing with the US dollars and it's messing with the Great British pounds, right? So the from currency and to currency are the parts that are going to get picked up by it. So the from currency, go ahead and click add, and we'll throw some payloads in there. Now, do you see how for the payloads, he's just throwing in other currencies, okay? Now, for the sake of legality, right, we're not going to really go real hard against this, right? So we're just substituting other currencies that we know are authorized. You know, obviously, you know that in the real world, you would put all these different payloads, you would run like a fuzz database against them, right? And that would be, you would populate them with all the cross-site scriptings, SQL injections, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not asking you to do that right now, but you know that that's where they go, right? Then for lab 8, what I want you to do is I want you to install Whistler. So Whistler, you're going to go to the Extender tab. So here you are inside of your proxy. You go straight to the Extender tab, right? And then at the very bottom of it, you're going to see Whistler. It's going to be this guy right here. Okay? We go through the exact same thing. Open up your browser, navigate to this, right? Testfire.net, right? Hit this Whistler. And now you can see that you can right click and you now have the option to parse the Whistler right there in one shot. Boom. So now you can parse the Whistler, and now after parsing the Whistler, you can click that Whistler tab one more time, and you'll see that the records has 2 bindings and an endpoint. And then you can send that to intruder. And the exact same thing will happen. You see how it gives you the exact same components where you can fuzz. You can load a set of payloads. And now you're seeing that again, we know that right here we would just enter our SQL injections, our cross-site scriptings, and all that kind of stuff, but we're just going to enter in some regular old numbers. Okay, we're not going to be bad. We're just going to enter some regular old numbers. And then you see it iterate through that. Okay. Let's step down in here and let's see how it's going. Okay, my SOAP UI is still downloading, so I'm going to let that go for a little bit. Okay, looks like it's now installed. Okay, so Whistler looks like it's installed for me. So we'll go up here, flip this sucker back to Burp Suite. Now I want test fire. Didn't get it. www.testfire.net. Bank. ws.asmx. Let's check to make sure that's right. Looks good to me. All right, so let me light that up. Got the wisdom, baby. Let's jump over here to the target. All right, got himself a wisdom. Bam. Parse that wisdom. And let's see. Okay, so after that, we're going to click on the Whistler tab, and we want to look for our two new IDs, right? So I'm going to go to Whistler, and here's my IDs. And what are we messing with? Get user. Okay, so we got an operation named get user. And we'll send get user to intruder. So there's get user accounts. And we'll send that sucker over to intruder. Jump over to intruder. Jump over to positions. Looks good to me. Okay, user ID is going to be right there. Let's jump to payloads. Let's go 1, 2. All right. Let's start that joker up. Poof. Ta-da. Good. Okay, so we added some integers. Start the attack. Okay. Very good. All right, let's see how we're doing with SOAP UI. And we got a few minutes left on SOAP UI. Okay, so what you got going on with this guy right here, Lab 9, I'm going to move on, guys, since it's going to be a few more minutes for SOAP UI to load, but I'm pretty sure you get the idea. What you got going on with Burp and Tor, you may be in a situation where you get your IP address blocked. So what you want to do is you want to push Burp through Tor, right? Now, again, in the context of security testing in the real world, this does not happen a lot. You do your penetration test, and usually during the penetration test, you furnish the list of IP addresses that you're going to be coming from. So oftentimes, coming through a Tor exit node is not authorized for a lot of reasons. One, the defender does not have control over the Tor exit node, so you literally could be in a situation where a hacker has placed his own Tor exit node up, which hackers do, because they want to sniff traffic. If you're identifying vulnerabilities in someone's website and you're going through Tor, you run the risk of potentially, I mean, it's a big hypothetical, but still, you run the risk of potentially identifying vulnerabilities only to have other hackers now be made aware of it because people are sniffing the Tor exit nodes. The second thing is, if you've published your IP addresses, you're generally whitelisted, so you're not going to be blocked. Okay, now where does this get interesting? It's the next lab. In lab 10, you're masking Victo headers. The reason that this is important is because sometimes people track the user agent and block different user agents. I'll give an example. Let's say you want to try to use the .htaccess file as a web application firewall. So your typical web server uses something called a .htaccess file. This is an Apache. So inside of Apache, you've got, we can do better than that. Inside of Apache, you load this .htaccess file, and that's what forces authentication of certain folders. It's what forces permissions and rules, and it's also what forces what are called rewrite conditions. So what you can do is, let's say, for example, we look at this web page. So do you see how they're restricting access to the local.xml file, right? So Magento is a CMS, if I'm not mistaken. And do you see how they're saying inside of the app folder /Etsy/local.xml. Now what they've got is they've got a rewrite rule. So you go to site.com/app/Etsy/local.xml. file type XML. Let's see if we can find one. Yeah, see, here we've got some out there. So this is somebody who has one of these files that are out there. So now you can read their Magento configuration and you can see their database password, right? So, there's going to be tons of people who've done that. There's plenty of these types of files out there. There's a bunch of them. So now let's say you want to configure your web server so that people can't do that to you. So you say, you know what? I don't want to install a web application firewall. I don't want to, or don't know how, or don't have the budget, or whatever. Or maybe you're in a hosted environment where you don't have really high privileges where you can install stuff. So you say, okay, I'm going to load a .htaccess rule, and now I'm going to turn on the rewrite engine, and now I want to say anytime I see this request for /app/etc/local.xml, I want to ensure that I restrict that. Now, I also want to look in the request, and I don't want people to use limits, unions, select, concats, 1 equals 1, 1 like 1, drops, comments, dash dash. I don't want people to use any of that stuff. I don't like any of these spam bots, right? So I want to block all of these. I want to block all the most common PHP backdoors. I want to protect my Joomla SEF. I want to block out anything that includes the word script. I want to not allow anybody to see that I have, PHP globals enabled. I want to rewrite any request. Like, this is a good one. I want to rewrite any request. That's not 0 to 9, A to Z. Period. So, as people start to come up to your web server, you're going to find that this doesn't sound like much, but this really wipes stuff out. So what you'll see is a lot of people in their user agent block stuff like lib-dub-dub-dub, they block stuff like anybody browsing with Nitco or browsing with wow, that's funny. So they may block stuff like lib-dub-dub-dub, dub-dub-dub mechanize. These are all, they may block, URLs, not URLs, user agents of any of the most common web crawlers that are in your Perl, Ruby, and Python-based hacking tools, right? So what you may end up doing is you may end up running your tool through Burp, just like this. Victo is an example, but you could do this with any tool, and then you could change its user agent to say what you want. So, you're going to find that a lot of really simple hacking stuff is done by just saying, you know what, I'm going to push, this hacking tool through Burp so that I can change the user agent in it. And you're going to see that doing that, you're going to be able to stop or bypass so many different filters. I'll give an example of one that I ran into. So, what are they called? Oh my God, I can't remember who they're called. Boingo. Boingo Wireless. What Boingo Wireless used to do is Boingo Wireless used to allow you to have free internet if you were using an iPhone. So if you could change your user agent to say that you were an iPhone instead of a regular laptop, you'd get free internet, right? Well, although the circumstances on which I discovered that were not a real penetration test, but the principle is still the same. The defensive mechanism is only allowing certain user agents to do certain things. So you may want to, rather than just use something like user agent switcher, which is what most of us do, we go to Firefox and then we use user agent switcher. And it's a Firefox add-on. And it allows you to change your user agent to whatever you want, right? You can make your user agent say that you're a Windows machine or a Linux machine or a Mac or whatever, right? You change your user agent to your blue in the face. And you're going to find that sometimes you get different versions of the web page based on that. You get different versions of the file downloads based on that. So rather than doing that inside of a browser, maybe you want to run your favorite hacking tool with a particular user agent, and you can. Okay? All right, SOAP UI, baby. So we'll move SOAP UI into tools. Okay, I'm gonna light up SOAP UI, baby. Just cooling. Ta-da! SOAP UI. So you go next, next, next. Don't need source code. I accept. Let's light it up. Create desktop icon. Whee! All right, that's awesome. Serviceplatform.org. WS grabbing. Okay, it's currency exchange service, currency converter. Where is that thing? CBA-WS. Dot with. Dot with. Spawn is from underscore INI. Slash 36 dash currency converter dot whistle. All right, awesome. That's not it. Whistle grabbing. This is just going to make me mad. Okay, there's got to be a faster way to do this. There's my whistle that I was just incapable of typing. Currency converter, and we're just going to keep it right. Okay, so he's going to grab that whistle. Boom. Okay, so hit the proxy settings, light that joker up. I'm going to open that conversion rate. Here's the request. And now here's my from and my to, all built out. And they've got question marks in here. So I'm going to make that US dollars. I'm going to make that GBP. Hit my play button. Okay, give me a 404, file not found. Let's jump over here to VoIP. And I forgot to do intercept. In here. I want to send that. And now let's check this out. Okay. Did I not set you up right? That's right. That's right. Okay, let me just check and make sure I turned everything on right. Intercept server responses. Check. Oh, you have to set it to 8080? Hmm. Let's see. You're right. That did it. You're all right. Let's see the positions. Yep. Takes them both. And we'll light it up. Okay, and you guys know that this would be where you would send all of your cross-site scripting, SQL injection, basically your whole fuzz list. And we step right through them, mamma jammas. Okay, so we're going to have to make a change in this document because the document says 80. Yeah, we're going to need to make a change because that's 80, 80. Okay, not a problem. Okay, send through burp. I didn't do repeater, but you guys get the idea. I did intruder. I already did the payloads, loaded some values, took a look at what came back. Hot diggity. All right, I think we put up a good little fight. I say let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about some more stuff. All right, guys, let's take a break.